everybody. The Blob 2 on consoles. It's about time I got to this one. So without any further ado, here's my review of The Blob 2. Console Edition. So the game's story is that Prisma City's general election is in progress when a mysterious priest known as Papa Blank rigs the outcome of the vote by cheating with an artificial metal arm in each voting booth that presses blank, allowing his cult of Inkies to wreak all manner of color-related havoc on the metropolis. So basically, the Inkies and Comrade Black return with vengeance to turn the world black and white. It is up to you to stop them once again. Already the graphic looks way better than the first game. The colors pop out a lot more, they stuffed in a lot more lighting and shadows, which looks great. The Blob isn't alone this time, as he's joined by a new ally, Pinky. No, not that Pinky. She's a great character. I love how she'll show sarcasm one way or another. That's really great. For the first time ever, co-op is here. In this case, the second player plays Pinky. She gets her own revival, used to shoot paint, but she can't help paint buildings or even earn achievements, which blows. But it's pretty much similar to the Luma from the Galaxy games. The thought was very nice, but not really that great of execution. Still fun, but kinda hit and miss. The Blob himself controls a lot smoother than he did before. Dare I say, he's at his most fun to control. The enemies from the first game return with a bunch of new faces. Blanks, a bunch of prismens brainwashed to have a religious love for black and white. Like lead spots, they last onto you, but unlike lead spots, they don't drain your color. They come from blank booths that will continuously respawn them, so you need to get rid of that before you can flick yourself on them. The Spikes Inky. An Inky who wears a spike helmet, making flunking at them a death wish, and also takes away 80 paint. But fortunately, you just gotta be careful when taking him out. The Bomb Bot is like leech bots, except they explode. They may be fast but not durable, as they explode in like 3 seconds. They also grab onto you if you're too close, making them very annoying little buggers. If that happens, they explode ink onto you. The Hypnodisc has only one function, destined to be fulfilled, and that's make you dizzy. The discs themselves are indestructible, but the Blank's TVs are, and so is the next enemy that can control it, the Shepherd, a religious Inky and member of the cult the Blank. Surge Inkies appear to be similar to the original, and they are at first. But along with a newly designed helmet and a glowing baton each time you get near them, they are pretty much larger versions of normal Inkies and thus require a lot more paint to deal with. Remember the Inky turrets from the first game? Well, there's another version of that called the Inky Mortars. They have unbelievable wide range, so they can fire at the Blob from very far away. But instead of aiming at the Blob, they fire randomly. Because of this, warning markers always appear on the ground to show you where the mortars is firing, since the inks they fire always seem to come from the sky. And that's honestly all the village. For as little as there were combat in the first game, and even then there's still very little in this game, I think it's very well done that they at least bother to have more variety so that it doesn't get stale. The cutscenes return from the first game, and they are just as delightfully entertaining and funny as the original. that I see it even more. The Blobs has the same moves as ever, well, except for the Z jumping thing. That seems to be absent in this game, which I wasn't too impressed by in the first game anyway, so it doesn't bother me. Along with co-op, there's multiplayer. The first game also had multiplayer, but I forgot to mention that in the first video. In this game, it functions pretty much similarly to the one in that game, except you can go through the levels you've unlocked through thanks to single player mode. That might sound like a problem, but the levels aren't too huge or too small, which is a plus. And I've always preferred the multiplayer in this game over the first game. There's a lot more weight and competition nature in this than the first game, which, don't get me wrong, in that game it's also very fun, but I think in this one it's a lot more fun. Remember how in both the Blob 1 and the Blob 2, the DS version, they only had one boss? Well, in the Blob 2 there's only Maestro, drumroll please, 2 bosses. Yeah, not that much better. The first boss happens because of manufacturing of inky problems that creates the ultimate abomination known as the monster. The boss fight is a little interesting. You see, the monster, a little weird name, but okay, is on a blood-spilling rampage for color, specifically Blob. What you really need to do is change it to a specific color and leave the trail where the boss is near the color pillars, all the way strap pillars to burn that sucker to a crisp. I really like this boss, and it made me wish that there were more than just 2. The more you burn him, the harder he becomes. You also gotta look out for the collapsing building and the rising ink. Now the second boss I was talking about is the final boss, Comrade Black. He's gotten really peeved that you restored all the colors and resorts to sucking it all back. And the Blob is rightfully pissed off. This fight has Comrade Black become bigger in size. But this boss fight also became a lot more puzzle oriented, and I gotta be honest, it's really cool. Certainly better than the one from the first game. He really throws a lot at you, and I mean a lot at you. I'll admit sometimes it can be overwhelming, but for the most part it's made sure so that it's not too overwhelming or cumbersome. But the colors you just restored is restored once again, and the day is saved for one final time, as this was the final The Blob game ever made. And would I like them to do a The Blob 3? Definitely. I mean, if they can manage to not only replicate Battle for Bikini Bottom for cosmic sake, but also improve it and make it a whole lot more fun, then there isn't really much stopping them from making the Blob 3, other than maybe them themselves not wanting to, which is a shame. So overall, what is my final verdict on the Blob 2? It's far from perfect, but it not only manages to enhance what made the first one so great, but it manages to also add on top to it and make it an overall enjoyable package. Well, the Blob marathon has officially come to an end. You know, doing this really reminded me of how much I had fun with all 3 of these when I was a kid. But I'll catch you guys later, but for now, I'm a be vibing.